Good evening. Would everyone please rise for the prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance?
Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for allowing us to gather this evening and for the opportunity to do work on behalf of the children of this parish. Guide us in our decision making so that we may continue to put the needs of our students first, and help us to do the things necessary to continue to serve them and this community in a way that truly addresses their needs. These things we ask in your name. Amen.
Mr. Campbell, would you lead us in the pledge, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please, Ms. Voce.
Ms. Acevedo? Here. Mr. Campbell?
Here.
Mr. Egan?
Here.
Ms. Jackson? Ms. Lemoyne?
Here.
Mr. England?
Here.
Ms. Dysart?
Here.
Mr. Long?
Here.
Mr. Smith?
Here.
Mr. Warner?
Here.
And Ms. White?
Here. Thank you, Ms. Voce. Before we go on to the first item on the agenda, I'd like to take a moment of silence at this time to recognize and to give our deepest condolences and sympathies to the Nada and White families. Allie Nada is a former student of ours, Chelmsford High, and so our deepest sympathies go out to the Nada and White families at this time. Moment of silence, please. Thank you. Okay. Next, first item on the agenda is the motion to incorporate the minutes of the February 2021 General Committee meeting into the minutes of the February 2021 regular monthly meeting.
So
It's a motion by Ms. Lemoyne, seconded by Mr. Warner. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposition? Motion carries. Next item is a motion to approve the following minutes. The regular monthly meeting minutes from January 26, 2021 is published on February 5th, 2021.
So moved.
Okay. Motion by Mr. England, seconded by Ms. Acevedo. Any discussion or questions? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposition? Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is the review of performance contract appointments. No action is necessary, but if you would like to review again at this time.
Right, these are just 18 of our administrators whose performance contracts are up for renewal, and I intend to renew all 18 beginning on July 1st, and again, for informational purposes, as we do with the personnel changes.
Are there any questions or comments? Mr. Long?
Only to say, like I said at the committee meeting, that we're very fortunate to have such a fantastic group of administrators. They're so dedicated, and they do a fantastic job, especially in these trying times. They've just done tremendous work, and we appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Long. Anyone else? Okay. Excuse me. Yes, we are very, very blessed to have so many wonderful personnel members in our school system, and they're all, of course, go beyond dedication, and we appreciate each and every one of them. Thank you. Excuse me. Okay. Next is a review of the personnel changes for February 2021, and there are some additions that are highlighted in your folder since the committee meeting. Are there any questions? I have one, Ms. Foche. I see we have quite a few leaves. Are all of these positions now covered?
Right.
At this time, you've already
Long-term
filled them?
coverage, right.
Okay, great, thank you. Anyone else? Okay. Next item on the agenda is a motion to approve the administration's request to approve strategic demographics LOC for reapportionment services, and there was a recommendation by the
So
committee.
moved.
Motion by Mr. Long, seconded by Ms. Lemoyne. Any discussion? Mr. England?
When do they start on this?
Well, originally, the census data was going to begin to be released in April,
Yeah, but they,
and that was, the reason parish government had contracted, and we came right behind them. But I've been reading in the paper
yeah, right.
and in the
Push
news
back.
that there will be a delay in the release of the census data. So I think it will probably be pushed back. I was hearing summer, then I was hearing September.
Right.
It has to be hopefully soon as, at that point, because there are many municipalities, government agencies, legislatures and such that need to reapportion because they will be having elections next
Right.
year. So all I can tell you is that we will have the firm ready. They will be ready as soon as the data is released, then they will begin to crunch the numbers and bring them to the board for their attention, and as we normally do, have a public hearing
Sure.
and go through that process.
Right.
So I'm hearing that it may not be before September that we begin this
To
process.
the third quarter, then. that's
Yeah.
what I was looking at. Okay, thank you.
Are there any other questions? In this request to approve the, just for the public's sake, the cost of this is actually lower than it was 10
Half.
years ago.
Half of what
Half.
it was 10 years ago.
Half of what it was, so that was a good request to have come in. Okay, anyone else? Okay, all in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion carries. Next item is a motion to approve the administration's request to advertise for a roof replacement at St. Bernard Middle School. There was a recommendation by the committee.
So moved.
There's a motion by Mr. Campbell. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Warner. Any discussion or questions? There being none, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposition? Motion carries. Next item is a motion to approve the administration's request to advertise for bid for bread. There was a recommendation by the committee.
So moved.
Okay, there's a motion by Mr. Warner, seconded by Ms. Jackson. Any discussion? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposition? Motion carries. Next item is a motion to approve the administration's request to advertise for bid, and this is for milk, and there was a recommendation by the committee. Motion by Ms. Lemoyne, second by Mr. England. Any discussion? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposition? Motion carries. Next item is a motion to approve the administration's request to advertise for bid on groceries, and this was a recommendation by the committee.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Campbell, second by Ms. White. Any discussion? There being none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposition? Motion carries. No complaints. And we voted on the contract with the demographic services with strategic demographics, but we need to also vote on a resolution. So at this time, I'll read the resolution for the minutes, and it reads as such. Wherefore pursuant to the United States Constitution and federal law, there is conducted a decennial census of the population of the United States. Wherefore the most recent federal decennial census was conducted in 2020, and the results thereof will be released in 2021. Wherefore, Louisiana law mandates that the St. Bernard Parish School Board consider the impact of the federal decennial census on its election districts to determine whether the relative populations of those election districts are in accordance with the principles of one person, one vote set forth in the United States Constitution. Wherefore, in order to accomplish this obligation, the St. Bernard Parish School Board requires the assistance of professionals in demographics, reapportionment, and redistricting. Wherefore, Strategic Demographics, LLC, through its principals and subcontractors, has extensive experience in demographics, reapportionment, and redistricting, including experience following the 2000 and 2010 census. Wherefore, Strategic Demographics, LLC, has submitted a proposed contract for demographic services, a copy of which is attached hereto. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the St. Bernard Parish School Board authorizes and directs its duly elected president to execute the contract for demographic services with Strategic Demographics, LLC. Be it further resolved that the St. Bernard Parish School Board authorizes and directs the administrative staff to take all actions necessary to carry out the contract for demographic services with Strategic Demographics, LLC. Be it finally resolved that the St. Bernard Parish School Board directs the superintendent to forward an executed copy of this resolution and the attached contract for demographic services to Strategic Demographic, LLC. Given under our hand and seal of the St. Bernard Parish School Board on this 23rd day of February 2021. Does the board wish to join in a joint acclamation? Yes. Okay. All in favor of the joint acclamation signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposition? Motion carries. Okay, thank you. All righty, now going on to item 13, items to be placed on the agenda of the next committee meeting. Anyone? And of course, you're here before the committee meeting to add agenda items if you wish. All righty, next item, superintendent's recommendations. Ms. Vocek.
Well, I think I have some, really good news I want to share with everyone. I put out something to our employees just a few minutes ago. I got a call last night. We've been working very, very hard to get all of our employees vaccinated. Now that our K-12 educators and support personnel have been put in the eligible tier. I've been working very closely with the Louisiana Department of Public Health to make that a reality for our employees. And last night, I was in communication with them, and they have agreed to send to us tomorrow, okay, that quick in a turnaround, enough doses that with which we will be able to vaccinate all of our employees who have indicated they wish to do so. So it's going to be a very quick turnaround. We're going to begin tomorrow afternoon and go through Thursday, Friday, and maybe even into Monday until we get everything finished. The Methodist Foundation, who operates our school-based health clinic, is going to be the vaccinators, as we name them. And this occurred because over the years, what happens when we do the flu vaccines or when you're doing a plan for any emergencies or such, local governmental bodies and entities can enter into agreements to do what they call closed pods, which are points of distribution. And we had entered into an agreement with the Methodist Foundation to do that for us here in St. Bernard in the school system. And that's why they go to each of our school sites every year and administer flu vaccines to our employees who wish to receive them. So to expedite the process, since we already had a signed agreement with them, we're able to utilize that agreement and start right away without going through any additional paperwork to set up a closed pod for us. We are setting up as we speak at the MoMA Center, and we're going to schedule our employees beginning tomorrow afternoon and into Thursday and Friday, and then if we have to spill over, Monday and Tuesday. Now, that's contingent upon the arrival of these doses tomorrow morning, which I have been assured they will arrive. So it's really exciting that I don't know if we'll be one of the only school systems, if not in the state, that we will be able to have all of our employees who wish to receive the vaccine vaccinated within such a short period of time. And in my discussion with the Department of Public Health, and I have not contacted these entities yet because I just talked with the people last night, so I don't know if I should be saying it publicly yet, but I'm going to do so. I agreed that if the daycare centers in the parish and the private schools in the parish, their educators are also eligible. So I was asked if we would be in agreement within our pod to assist and help with that, and I told them that we would. So once our employees are completed, then I'm going to be contacting the local daycare centers for their staff and the two private parochial schools within St. Bernard Parish to see if they wish to send their eligible employees to us, and we will then administer those vaccinations to them. So I think that's pretty exciting news, you know, in that we could very quickly do that turnaround. And I've talked with the president of our association, because what it's going to take in order to make this happen is our teachers and our support personnel are going to have to help us in terms of covering classes during their planning periods and such, so that our employees can go over to the MoMA Center during the workday, get the vaccination, and then come back, so that we can expedite the process rather than trying to do something after hours and we'll never get it finished if we do it in that regard. So I think that's really, you know, exciting news.
Yes.
And I wanted to share that with, you know, with the board and with people in the community. And as I said, I had sent something out to our employees right before this meeting, because this is, I talked with our principals earlier today, so they are aware of it. And I wanted our employees to be too before, you know, we had this discussion. And with that, I know, Mr. Long, you talked about how, you know, what wonderful school-based administrators that we have, which we do. And as I said to the employees in the communication, you know, that all of the board members, because y'all have talked consistently about it, as well as I, are really truly appreciative to our teachers and our support personnel for what we truly consider their heroic efforts all year long. And in relation to that and all the extras we're asking them to do, like cover these classes or, you know, go through what they've been doing all year, we're looking into coming to you with a plan at the next board meeting to work through our budget, and with the additional funding we're getting, to provide a nice stipend for all of our employees within the next month to 6 weeks once y'all do that approval. I know that you've been requesting me to take a look at that, and we've been talking about that for at least the last 2 or 3 months, and we feel confident that we can do that with the additional funding that's coming in, that we can pay for the COVID-related expenses and free up some of the general fund monies that we had to spend on the COVID-related expenses that we can then pass through to our employees in appreciation for everything that they have been doing over the course of this year. So those were two good things I thought we could share.
One
Thank you,
question-
Ms. Voce.
One question
go
for Ms.
ahead, Mr.
Voce. Ms. Voce, you talked about the next meeting. Can you also, at the next meeting, let us know what the percentage of our employees have taken the vaccine? I'd like to know. I'm hoping that we have a large percentage of our employees that elect to take the vaccine.
Well, I can tell you right now, the employees who indicated that they wish to take it, and this is because some have already taken. The ones I have left, it's between 60 to 65%, and I know we have a great many who have been in other eligible tiers who have already completed it. So of our 900 and maybe 80-ish employees, right now, I know I've got around 550 that I'm looking at to make available the vaccine to within the next few days. So I'll get a more definitive figure, but it's in that ballpark.
Great.
You know, everybody has their own personal reasons, and many people have health conditions, or if they've had COVID and they've had an infusion, they can't take it for 90 days. If certain other things existed, they could not do it. We have some of our young teachers who are consulting with their doctors due to potential pregnancies and different kinds of things that people have issues with. So actually, I was talking with the state superintendent right before I came down here about another issue, and he asked me that same question because we were talking about, I was telling him about the vaccinations, we're going to be able to do so many, and he said that's a very, it's a really high percentage in relation to many of the other districts. And even when I was talking to the administrator of Oshner over there, that's a high percentage in relation to many of their employees. So I think hopefully once this occurs, I think people can feel a little bit better sense of security as we continue to provide educational opportunities for our students, that our teachers and our support people will feel more of a comfort that they have more protection. That's why I want to roll these things out as fast as we can. So if those doses arrive tomorrow, we are starting them tomorrow afternoon, Thursday, Friday. We're not waiting. We have everything set in place. The person I spoke with at the Department of Public Health, said, you can turn these around that fast? I said, yes, we can. So she said, how many do you need, at that point? And so we have them. So we have to make sure we do the turnaround as quickly as we can.
So if we get 70%, that, or 60
I
to
don't think we'll get
70%.
70%, but in the 60s,
Okay.
I think.
And it'll be a 2-dose thing for our
Two
employees?
dose, so we'll
Okay.
do the first dose now, it'll be the Moderna vaccine, so 4 weeks from that date, we'll have to do the second dose.
Okay, and we're gonna have these extra doses in storage, or
Well,
are
they
we
are
gonna put them
going
on
to be
hold? or-
delivered straight to, oh, no, they won't be on store for 4 weeks.
Okay,
They will have to do another delivery at the time that they are needed.
okay,
So, no, they won't be sitting there.
okay.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Foche. And this is just wonderful news for our employees. It really is. And, you hear on the news in different places, individuals being on the front lines. Our teachers have been on the front lines with their students, and we talk about how much we appreciate them and, how wonderful they are, in the classrooms and, taking care of our students' education. And I know I've had questions asked to me in the public about, how many students are actually coming to school versus not coming to school. And of course, we know, and the public should know, that is a individual decision by the parents. But as we've come along this process of the pandemic, more and more parents are choosing to send their children back to school. And so our numbers are greater in our schools for our students, and, you know, we just can't commend our teachers and staff members and administrators who have been on the front line since day one with all of this, and we truly do appreciate them. And we talked about the stipend also for our teachers and our all of our support personnel and all of our personnel, and they truly are worthy of a stipend. And I can't wait to and I know my fellow board members feel the same, that, you know, to look and at the numbers and see exactly what we can afford to do for our employees, who, again, have been just great out there with our students. So thanks again, Ms. Voce, for staying on that to get those numbers of vaccines also. So, anyone else? Okay. Did you have anything else, Ms. Voce?
That's
At
it.
this time? Okay. All righty. There's a motion
End
by
on
Mr.
good news.
Campbell, seconded by Ms. Acevedo. All in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposition? Motion carries. The meeting is now adjourned. Thank you and good night.